Good morning, and it's Drive Time Live. And today's Drive Time Live topic is establishing a practice of being in charge and staying in charge of your own fate. And this is brought to you on behalf of Ivanetti After School and Tutoring Services. Ivanetti After School and Tutoring Services, a place where the journey towards educational development is always on point. So if you want to be a part of this great experience, then give yours truly, Ray Johnson, a call at 914-447-1819. Again, it's Ray Johnson at 914-447-1819. At times, we chart out, or we try to look at our destination before establishing a route to that destination. Not understanding the route, but focusing on a particular destination may most of the time be harmful. Simply, it may cause disappointments. Disappointment in the sense that there is always problems, or there are always problems along the way. And of course, that's understood, because if you're embarking on a journey without understanding the requirements, or understanding the journey itself, understanding the qualifiers of moving successfully along that journey, then of course there will be disappointment and anxiety as you go along. So first we have to establish some practice in the sense that we keep doing things, understanding things. We become practitioners of what we do, understanding it, putting things in action to get to that destination or that fate. I would even go back and say, it's important that we understand before we start practicing. Understanding is, they say, if you understand exactly what's required of you, 3/4 of the problem is already taken care of. So understanding what are the needs, what are the requirements, the prerequisites to get on a certain path to a destination, you have gone through a lot. So making sure that you are holding on, or establishing a knowledge base, is like having a what must I call that now, a syllabus, a course outline, a trajectory. So if you have that trajectory, knowing the different coordinates as you go along, different points as you go along, then life can be simplified, or the path can be somewhat simplified. That's I always transition, of course, into education and schooling, but it can be just about anything. We even have, I'm gonna segue somewhat into going to learning a trade. if you're learning a trade, you don't just start out being a mechanic the first day. So, even in craft, if you are to learn a craft, then you have to start somewhere. You have trainees, entry level. At that entry level, what you're doing is learning what is required. For example, a mechanic, a carpenter, you need to know the tools. Okay, the first thing you have to know tools. I can remember myself back, way back when, trying to learn to be a mechanic. And of course, it did not work out for me because, my mind was more of a logical mindset than being mechanical. So, I did not stay for long, seeing that I was thinking more on a logical, more analytical path. And nothing is wrong with that. We all have our own fate. And we have to be the decision makers. We have to know how to channel our lives into that direction of choice. So it's like anything else, whatever you do, understanding what you're all about is important. So we take control of our fate. Being in control of your fate is more or less putting things in your own hands and making sure that everything is in place. You're practitioners, you're practitioners, you're making sure that things are in place and not being dependent on a what if. We need to remove things like luck and the what ifs and the and all these conditional statements out of our movement towards a greater good. We have to ensure that we put the right things, the right ingredients in place to identify the steps along the way, identify the predetermined step along the way. And if we can identify the predetermined steps along the way, then progress is realized. And that's what you want. You want progress. You want to see progress. And, our failures throughout life, of course we're met with, our failures throughout life may be multifaceted. Because there are different challenges as you go along. And nothing is a 100%, proof. No matter what work you put in, sometimes there are other challenges. But how do you overcome these challenges? Identifying these challenges as you go along and seeking after corrections to these challenges may put you back in line. So, there will be challenges. There will be errors. But if not corrected, you go deeper into challenges. So we, again, are responsible for charting our own fate. And please, if failure get an entrance into the path, then point the finger at yourself. Point fingers at you not identifying the emergence of failure. Failure sometimes, for myself or anybody, failure will enter, but at times there's warning. There is enough warning. It's like doing a test in school. You have, in college nowadays, you have a 6-week test, you have, homework, you have midterm exam, and you have the final exam, and it's weighted. Okay, it's a weighted average. And if you're working with a weighted average and you see yourself not performing at each juncture, at each point along the way, then you should realize that you're falling and you need to do something. You need to take corrective measures to move ahead. Okay, so we, for example, you're in college, and you know that the midterm exam, the weight of the midterm exam is 40%. The weight of that 6-week test and homework is 20%. And the weight of the final exam is 40%. So that makes 100%. If you haven't done any homework and you haven't passed the 6-week test, you have lost 20% already. So even if you should make 100% on the 6-week test and 100% on the final, based on weighted average, if you're zeroed out on the other 2 tests, you cannot make more than a B. You cannot make more than a B. So that's understanding what you're all about. Again, if you have done nothing on the 6-week test and you have done nothing on the midterm test and you make 100% on the final, that's equivalent to only 40%. That's weighted average. So you're going to say, oh, I did well on the final. But it's not based only on the final exam. If the final is cumulative, then you may be able to recover from that problem. But in life, we are not always offered that opportunity of using one instant to recover from all. That's not possible. You cannot use a single instant to recover from all instances. Their life is, the successes in life's success, that's cumulative. It's moving along a path and making sure that you have attained a level that is in sync. You have attained some kind of level, of course, that's in sync with the expectations. You cannot form your own expectation. That's another thing. The expectations of success is already defined within our, in life. It's already defined. And it's not something that is dynamic, can be changed according to your performance. Success will never be changed according to your performance. If you're going to be successful in something, you're going to be successful. successful according to predefined measures. That's where you define your success. It has to be defined according to predefined measures. So if you're not living up to those predefined measures, I tell you, you're not experiencing success. Again, Drive Time Live is brought to you by Ivanetti After School and Tutoring Services, a place where education is treated with utmost respect. And if you're in that shopping mood for knowledge and greater experience, then reach out to Ray, Ivanetti After School and Tutoring Services. I'm on 914-447-1819. Summer programs are now getting ready, and we look forward to seeing you all at 914. Please call 914-447-1819, and do make it a great and progress-filled week.